Thank you everybody for joining. Our session now is about advanced digital technologies for industrials. So what does it mean? So when you look around here, and not this year, but also all the previous years, with all the solutions that are around, everything should be solved. Why are we talking at all? Right? Integrated solutions, all the vendors are promising everything is integrated, fully integrated, and works. And the reality, what we are figuring out with our partners is different. So, we, Bain, SoftServe, AWS, doing something differently. And I also would like to welcome two solution partners of ours who also do a lot of things differently. Josef Weitel from Software-Defined Automation, and we have also Patrick there from Tulip, right? They are also doing things differently together with us. We come to that. So, when we look at that, what does it mean? I think the full potential, what does it mean? You know, we are not talking about technology or doing technology for the sake of technology. It's about creating value. What we are seeing with our clients often, there is no value case. You know, we are lucky if there is already a cost case, but nobody's looking what is the heat map and the impact of the use cases and the business areas that I would like to support best and in which sequence, right? So then company-centric architecture, what does that mean? You know, we heard it as well in the previous presentation from Tulip, right? You need to get underneath what does the architecture mean for your company, right? Based on standard components, but that needs to be figured out. And then we will also have a success story from clients. Max will provide that. So, brief introduction, Bodo Körber, I'm leading advanced digital technologies at Bain. I will not read everything here. Bain is one of the leading strategy consulting firms with a strong focus and technology, and that is a combination, performance improvement, bottom line, top line, right? So that means whatever we do in technology is always aligned to performance improvement. So then we have also two other folks with us.
Yeah, my name is Max Morwind. A warm welcome also from my side. I'm leading the EMEA manufacturing organization at SoftServe. SoftServe is a US-Ukrainian company, global system integrator, was founded 30 years ago, and we are really enabling the technologies in order to solve the business problems, as Bodo pointed out. And I have also the pleasure to present you one of our very innovative industrial co-pilot solution, which we are currently implementing with Continental. Looking forward to the discussion.
And I'm Magnus Akesson. I'm the manufacturing solutions leader for AWS. And you all know about AWS, so I don't need to introduce you to the bullets that are on here. But fundamentally what I do at AWS is that I'm partner in crime, if you will, with many, many of our partners to solve some of our most pressing problems in the industry with our partners together with our industrial services. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you both. So, a couple of challenges, right, that we see. Productivity increase, it's every year and it's on, right? So then, end-to-end business process integration, that is already getting harder because we sense that has gotten a little bit lost in the last years. And we see also then other areas, circularity, ESG, what is also coming down to manufacturing, beyond all the traditional challenges that we have in manufacturing that are still there. Also quality issues not solved and a lot of other things. So then also support of workers, I think also very strong. Tulip is supporting exactly also the frontline workers in terms of the shop floor with all the enablement and also the workflows. And still a lot of unstructured data sources. So recently, you know, with a client meeting where the client said, well, we have a problem with quality. I said, what quality problem? Yeah, basically the reporting of the quality is only captured in free text fields. So how can you and could you really analyze that because it's unstructured? They cannot. right? So we are working also with Tulip also to get that resolved as an example. So I think there are a couple of areas that we have to look at and that we have to consider. It might sound familiar and everyone said, oh, we are doing that. But let's get to reality, who is really doing that, right? I think you need also to understand what tech enablement means in all the business processes and also in all the use cases. Decompose it. Next thing, integrated process and technology landscape. What we see every day, landscapes have grown over years, right? Processes have not been re-engineered. The technology landscape has grown. Even, sometimes they started perhaps, with a standard package solution or with a platform, and then they are building that and that and that on top. So, but you cannot scale anymore, right? Real-time transparency should be there, but most of the clients are not getting that enabled. Yeah, I think workforce supplementation, augmentation, leaders are doing that already. Others are lagging behind. Because it's not only just to enable one use case. It's really about the entire framework from the business, from the operating model, but also from the technology. And then surely the data strategy. We always need to start with the data. If your data are really not consistent, you can put any kind of solution in place, it will not work. So we have put together, so to speak, the all-time classic use cases that we are seeing really driving EBIT impact. I will not read and go through all of those, but you could also sense, well, with all the solutions that everybody had in place, regardless from which vendor, everything should be solved. It's not. So when we look, for example, areas that we see daily is, for example, digital production planning and scheduling. The typical thing is that there are frictions between the ERP and the MES. As an ERP process, you can ask any company, not solved. Tons of frictions, and it's technology on the one hand side, and the other thing is business alignment, which is missing. Then also production performance monitoring. I think a lot of things that can be done. We will come to this later. We have, for all of those, also with our solution partners, a digital use case library that can be implemented in a short time frame.
So I have a question for you here, Bodo. So we all know there's incredible potential, right? But if I take this now down to the shop floor, and let's say you go to a Kaizen event, right? And you need it now. You need it good, fast, and cheap right off the bat. We need to think strategically about capturing all this value, but also delivering results on the short term. So how do you reconcile some of these sort of sometimes opposing
I think
objectives?
Three things need to come together. And those partners here that we have, Magnus, we are aligned on this approach, which means it's not only about technology, right? We see a lot of clients who start with technology or a use case here, a use case there. Oh, we have some budget in this plant. Yeah, we can spend $15,000 or euros, and we do it then here nitty-gritty, but not scalable, right? The other plant does not even know that they have rolled this out. So I think it's very important that we come to a company-centric architecture, understanding, where you are in terms of the legacy and what we are doing, what can you transform in the short term, right? So that we also enable, for example, a digital performance management use case on the shop floor in 6 months, but also then developing with our partner SoftServe and AWS and Joseph and also the friends from Tulip, what the target architecture could look like. The other thing is business and operations. A lot of clients don't know where they have the biggest impact in terms of value. Bottom line, top line effect. We have to build a heat map and to be clear which use cases should go first. And then also relating what is the underlying technology, what is needed, right? Is it a workflow, new application, activating existing technology, AI, what it is, right? And then the people and operating model. You need to get the people on board and include. That is very important. If you don't do a value-focused, end-to-end value capture, you will never get that. You know, capturing the value and doing that also not only in reporting, but taking it to an advanced level, then it will not work. Because if you have a deviation, you also need to have an idea how to manage the deviation. And not just, you know, getting reporting from your project teams, but supporting them to get it done.
But Bodo, one question, I mean, end-to-end processes, I mean, that's around for multiple years, even decades. So what makes your approach different than to what's already existing around?
Yeah, the thing is, you know, I started my career implementing production planning 34 years ago, also based on SAP systems.
Should click it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you are impatient.
Yes, I am. Yes, sorry.
So
There we
the
go.
thing is, the perspective, the leverage of end-to-end process has completely diminished in the recent years. I don't know why that happened, right? But in a lot of companies, even if they invest a couple of $100 million for any kind of rollouts, often, you know, they don't do it from the end-to-end process perspective. It's just an observation, you know, that is supported by a lot of, you know, people working with clients every day. So we start, here's for example, plan to manufacture, and on a high level, we go deeper, surely also to level 5, 6, data flows, everything. But we look then, you know, where do you have currently a gap? Where do you have a problem, right? Then we look which kind of systems are currently supporting this. And then, and that is the important thing, we relate it to the value levers and to the business KPIs. And derive from that the plan, what needs to go first, and also where we need to change and adjust, you know, the underlying architecture, right? And I can tell you, when you go down to a process and sub-process, we discover a lot, right? But we come then up with the appropriate solution, not, you know, in 5 years and 6 years, now. So that means what can we fix and put in within 6 to 9 months in your landscape, leveraging latest platform technologies.
So I have a question on that as well. So back to this point of tying larger outcomes to tangible outcomes, and also looking at value streams and in information flows and getting the process right from a long term. Again, how would you think about taking these value levers and breaking it down to more distinct components than in terms of delivering this value quickly?
So we have built up with our partners a digital factory solution library. Tulip is part of that, SDA as well, you know, where we have the use cases ready, decomposed also to the architecture level. So like a recipe, we know exactly what we do, right? We don't have to debate with the clients and explore saying, okay, what do we have to do? Structured plan, what needs to be done to enable the use cases in the different dimensions that I mentioned, from the business perspective, from the governance, and also from the technology. And by the way, here are a lot of, you know, high-value use cases on, and also the all-time classics that you can also tick mark, you know, for a lot of clients when you enter the discussions in digital manufacturing. So with that, I think now the question is, what is a reference architecture that could support that? Because every client has a different kind of architecture. Perhaps, Magnus, you could elaborate on that. So the company-centric architecture is very important because it's not only that you have core systems, right, but you have a lot of adjacent solutions, right? We just this morning discussed with a client about 70 interfaces with, you know, with all the solutions around in the manufacturing supply chain area, which hinders them to do a digital transformation. So that is, for example, one thing that need to be solved. And that is also what we need to overcome. So we built a company-centric architecture looking what supports your business best, but based on standard components, right? also overcoming legacy. But I think you can explain it better than I do.
Thank you, Bodo. And so, I mentioned earlier that we're partnering to solve some of the industry's most pressing problems. But, reality is that many of our partners are very good at sort of certain things, and other partners are good at other things. And I want to actually steal a quote from the Tulip presentation just half an hour ago, right? Like, when we, as partners, come together to orchestrate end-to-end outcomes, then our customers don't have to. And I think that's a really, really key point, right? So at AWS, we have, we partner with partners like Tulip and SCA, for example, that again solve some very, very specific contemporary problems that, in our view, will really change the way the industry operates. So, for example, in the case of SDA, bringing IT DevOps practices to the world of PLC management, backup, configuration, observability. I mean, these are game-changing capabilities in the world of OT, right? Again, bringing IT to OT. Similar with Tulip, right? The system of engagement in a human-centric, operator-centric design to really, if you will, focus on the operator, to really give them a better day and augment their day with the right digital capability in the right place in the right time. But fundamentally, to orchestrate these processes end-to-end, we also have to work on integrating this product into workflows that really solve for the right outcome from a bigger perspective. So that's what we do here, is partner with our ISVs and integrators like SoftServe, who really have the expertise to go out on the shop floor and really help customers with making that sort of technology come to life in the right way. And then with Bain, really taking a strong view on capturing the value, right? So many often do technology projects become technology projects for their own sake, and we'll lose sight of where we're trying to go as a business, which really is where Bain is shining. And I'm really, really excited about sort of bringing these things together. And again, I want to really point out in a way where our customers don't have to solve for this puzzle, right? We bring it to them, and we all deliver outcomes faster. Now, of course, it starts with data, right? If there's a lot of talk, right, about, it's been talked about for years, by the way, decades, I would say, about learning how to treat data as an asset, learning how to become a data-driven organization and using it in your processes, in your operations for differentiation, either internally or the way you go to market with your customers. Sounds easy, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to do well. And so the way we support sort of this ecosystem to really deliver the right outcomes is to provide that data foundation for customers to really learn how to treat data as an asset. And our goal really is to abstract that problem away, right? This should not become a technology problem, right? This should become about really driving improvement in your operations. And it's what we do with Industrial Data Fabric. And by the way, a few other partners, close partners of Tulip and SDA, like HighByte, just behind me here, for example, that really helps customers first to connect, then collect and contextualize their data, and really persist that in the cloud to be able to consume it from multiple use cases, be it building a Tulip app or be it writing PLC code and driving that closed-loop feedback. And so what we really try to do here is to make sure that we make data very, very meaningful, available, and easily, really, really, truly being able to provision it to our customers in a way that it can provide value quickly. Again, it's a long-standing problem. We don't have the silver bullet, but again, with our purpose-built industrial services for industrial data, along with our partners, we've come a really, really long way towards solving this problem, which I'm really, really excited about.
I think, Magnus, I think what makes it special beyond our approach is that it's about co-innovation, right? It's co-innovation with the partners, and it's co-innovation with the clients, right? I think that makes it unique.
Yeah.
And also that we pick the clients up where they are, right? The thing is, we have to look where to start, at the client side, not only from the value perspective and, mapping out the use cases, but also then from the technology. And I think the reference architecture is important. When you go want to go from A status where you are into the future, right? There are also other vendors out there who say, okay, fine, in 6 years, that is our transition path. Just invest 400 million and go there.
Yeah.
No, nobody has time for that. What we have built together enables any client, regardless which use case, to deploy it based on the reference architecture, to do that within 6 to 9 months in order to capture the value early. And that is, what we stand for. And Max, I think you have also a nice example brought with you.
That's correct, Bodo. Yeah. So I have the pleasure to give you some overview of what we are doing with Continental. So in the last 6 months, we closely collaborated with Continental in order to figure out how can we create value from technology for the humans, especially in the factories. So I'm going to present you 2 different streams which we are currently implementing. One is around the planning of the changeover in the production. So Continental, they're producing tires, they're producing spare parts for automotives, and sometimes they have small batches which they're producing. So in this case, the humans, the workers, they need to reconfigure the different machines, they need to actually put different spare parts into the machines. And here it also needs to be closely aligned with the planning. Yeah? So which spare parts do you need, when is the right production batch, and you have a lot of downtime by reconfiguring the machines, but also when you're starting to implement the new batch, you have a lot of scrap and waste. So here what we were doing, we were implementing the industrial co-pilot, which you can actually see on the right side, where we closely collaborate with NVIDIA. And in this combination, we have the visualization of the 3D model, of the CAD model of the machine, which you will see in the video on the next slide. And here we can actually generate, with the help of generative AI, the right information for the planning people in the office, but also transition this information to the worker on the shop floor, reconfiguring the machine in the right way. And in the end, it's really about the outcome and the value which we can achieve with it. So we have significant unplanned downtime reduction with this solution, but also knowledge capturing, knowledge management are key drivers out of the solution which we are implementing. So to onboard new workers, that is one of the key improvements where we ensure to capture this knowledge, this information, and to provide the people in the shop floor the right information at the right time. And now if we go into the details, you can see here the visualization of the specific machine, which is producing the displays of the cars. You have this CAD model in Omniverse, and on the left-hand side, you have the AI assist. And here you have the possibility to type in different questions. You can also use your voice, which is then transitioned into text. You can ask them, okay, how do I do the performance checks today? It screens the different documentations, and that's actually also a significant value. It taps into the main documentation, can also screen the maintenance logs. It's combined also with the spare parts. And then on the top right, you have the maintenance plan, where you actually have the visualization of the real object which is being actually operated. It shows you in the 3D model where is this specific object be located. It marks with colors. And then actually you have the possibility to continuously get a structured guidance on how to conduct the maintenance, and really see also where to go in the machine, especially if it's a complex machine generating a lot of data. This is really helping new workers a lot to be enabled to do the right operations. And you will also be able to see additional questions which you can here connect and interact with the generative AI. So you can see on OEE, for example, how are you doing in your specific shift, how is the availability of the specific machine, and how to improve the overall operations, combining and building on the key technology blocks, on the standards what Bodo and Magnus presented. But here I think it's really a starting point on how to operate and conduct maintenance and combine it together with planning. And I think with that, we are at the end of our presentation. So if you have any questions, I think we still have 5 minutes for Q&A, or we are around for any further discussion if you are interested. Thank you very much for your attention, and we wish you a great HMI.
Thank you.
Thank you.